What did ancient people know about sound healing that we need today that is being released for this time? Independent of each other, different cultures worldwide have developed the ancient use of particular sounds, musical instruments, depths of sounds, repeating patterns, and frequencies and vibrations that shift the listener's perspective profoundly. The intentional changes bridge waking consciousness as a sound healing therapy to heal trauma, spiritual relationship issues, mental health concerns, and even physical healing. These sound patterns facilitate shifts in consciousness that are transformational. In ancient Greece, about 200 years before the Common Era, that's BC, Pythagoras has been identified to be the first person to discover the relationship between musical harmony and the mathematical harmony of numbers. More historical recordings cite Pythagoras to be the first person to recognize the value of music and learn to prescribe music for sound healing for the physical body and ailments of the mind and emotions. In digging deeper, Pythagoras was trained in Delphi, Greece by the seer priestess and prophet Theomistoclea. Theomistoclea today would be called an extremely gifted medicine woman and shaman. Like the early mention of the use of sound healing of Theomistoclea in what is now India, Vedic mantras were begun around 1,000 years before the Common Era. A mantra allows your mind to project an aspect of itself, get focus, attract different things to your life, and to keep a healthier state of mind. And this is why it's used as a therapeutic resource. In some applications, a mantra is considered to cure illnesses and emotional problems, to improve the mind and the mind's performance, achieve higher levels of consciousness, and transcend regular perceptions of space and time. Mantra repetition, sound, and tone are considered a spiritual formula of magical resonance that evoke a feeling and inner connection, shifting consciousness, aiding in spiritual awakening and transformation. While mantras were being used in India in the 1000 BC and even older tradition of northern Australian Aborigines is the didgeridoo that induces relaxing brainwaves, pain relief, release of emotions, and increases in circulation based on research of modern science. This 60,000-year-old tradition accesses the three brains, the brain of the stomach, which is proven in our science, the brain of the heart, and the brain of the mind or head, using the didgeridoo's vibration. The vibration enters the body and shakes the cells. This allows access to cellular memory and breaks down blocked energy. The didgeridoo sound also transfers into other states of consciousness, including the dream time. Aboriginal healers also use traditional chants, repetitions, to remove energies from the body into the spirit world for release. Repeating sound patterns in the same tones creates and develops the relationship with the process that allows the person to go deeper, relax more easily and quicker, and access the simultaneous beneath conscious awareness occurrence of positive changes in brain waves, heart rate, and respiration that inspire the immune system and create feelings of well-being and sinking into the body, mind, and spirit, which develops the inner relationship with our inner personal spiritual wisdom. The same profound influence and role of sound healing for transformation are found in areas of Africa, including Ethiopia, Sudan, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Madagascar. In these different locations, healing ceremonies use sound healing for spiritual relationships and resolving sickness within the physical body, and the mind emotions. The core of the use of sound and music patterns is the use of music for consciousness and physical body transformation. These ancient practices morphed when slaves were transported to the U.S., where different African cultures and their medicine people, shamans, and wisdom keepers were all thrown together. Their resources led them to create sound healing practices to heal the daily wrath of their slave owners that included rape, PTSD, and trauma in the ring shout style. This ancient transformative sound healing became woven into what we know as Negro spirituals, including group circular movements with clockwise rotation, foot movement, connection to the earth, call and response, offered profound sound healing. All the layers involving sound, frequency, repeating patterns and tones carried and held the participant listeners into altered states for healing. Although across the United States there are over 574 recognized different tribes, their shared deep connection to the use of sound and music and repetition for connection and healing continues through drum rhythm sounds, songs, and chants, and other instruments that accompany the practices. Indigenous people of the Americas consider music to carry the ancestors' wisdom across time, transmitting sacred memory. These deep, significant, special songs are forms of sound healing that pass knowledge, teachings, and wisdom and activations to the song keepers through generations. When we awaken our sacred ancient memory through listening to special music patterns, they evoke our connection to our ancient wisdom within and connection with others and through time. Listening occurs through our ears, but also the rest of our body, our skin and bones and knowing, and our cellular memory. The way we know sound healing is creating change and transformation is through the feeling, which often deepens with repeated listening because the healing sounds transport the listener with repetition and familiarity. The deeper layers and applications of sound healing, including specific tones, patterns, frequencies, are now being revealed as energy symbols for connection to our higher selves, activations in trauma healing, spiritual awakening, and our evolution. As we move further into the changes transforming our world, science is revealing what ancient peoples practice as components of healing, connection, accessing levels of consciousness that created entrainment, inner resonance, and harmony. More contemporary research is showing significant applications of specific musical listening on all of our systems. Past science research, so over 10 years ago, a group of researchers wrote in the Nutrition Journal on the impact of music on metabolism. In this meta-analysis research, they were documenting the value of particular sound and music already researched in regulating the hypothalamic pituitary axis, which controls responses to stress and recovery from cortisol production and inflammation, body processes like digestion and sexuality, energy storage and expenditure, which is related to exercise and post-exercise recovery, and mood and emotions and pain. Other findings include sound and music listening reduce the release of cortisol, the stress hormone, increase release of the growth hormone, increase immune system response, and decrease need for sedatives and pain reduction medicines, and reduce pain, decrease self-rated anxiety, and decrease in anger, and benefits in healing cancer and cancer recovery. Yet, to date, there is nearly zero information to medical and mental health providers or holistic health providers about how to draw upon the non-invasive powerful methods or access to the sound and music research, or how to utilize the healing abilities for areas mentioned above. So why are transformation of consciousness linked to specific sound and music listening? While we may think of transforming consciousness as an introduction from the East to the West, shifting into different states of perception has been part of nearly every world culture and religion, as sacred music, as the application that was held by those people who were part of the community. Ancient people understood the value of shifting into other states of consciousness, using sound and music as a method of transporting the listeners into other states where their receptivity and intuitive awareness were heightened. There was healing occurred, resilience and restoration occurs, as well as their sense of inner peace. In mainstream science, research on memory, cognition, attention, the sense of self, social, emotional intelligence, and accessing restorative states of consciousness that also change the physical body responses, neurological responses, and emotional and mental responses are different domains of how our brain functions. Other research shows heart coherence occurs during deep exhalation and inhalation and are related to alpha brain waves, where relaxation occurs, and also positive emotional states. And alpha brain waves are the relaxation state where we are not, our current brainwave state is where we are in a hypervigilant state. So the music and sound listening allows us to access that restorative state. Positive emotional states promote health and occur with simultaneous brainwaves, heart rate, and respiration. And the coherence with changes in the heart rhythms also shifts brainwaves that release depression and anxiety. The findings of coherence with heart rate and brainwaves are also supported by the research of the HeartMath Institute. And one more significant component in sound and musical listening as sound healing, the person is transported through the patterns and tones and the spaces between the sounds. Human beings are wired to respond to repetition. Repetition is considered the mother of all learning. The repetition of sound patterns cues our heart rate, respiration, and brainwaves as it continues to stay in the receptive state, trusting the sound pattern unfolding because it holds the space through the repeating patterns and sustained relaxation and receptive state. It is the profound nature of these patterns that changes us, carries us, holds us, enlightens us, and transforms us. An additional component of the sound healing methods is the use of guided imagery that may accompany the sound healing. Guided imagery means there's a narration that takes the listener into the process through vocalized directions. Listening to the story unfold allows the listener to create their imagery, whether that is something they see, internally experience, feel, know, or sense in another way. In the act of listening to guided imagery, there is creation, connection, and ownership. The expectation of the process of guidance is another level of the process of sound healing. There is little effort because the listener is occupied by the sound patterns and the unfolding of both the narration and the sound patterns. This is another layer of the ancient magic of storytelling at work. Since science has already proven the value of music and sound listening, although we know there is more research to come that will include a deeper and more comprehensive understanding and application, medical and mental health providers and holistic health providers, as well as the public, need to access these non-invasive, powerful methods. Sound healing methods supported by science and ancient wisdom require the following: a delivery method that is easy and accessible, that addresses some of the most dire issues of healing today, including depression, anxiety, mental health concerns, cancer, heart disease, pain, immune-compromised illness, addiction, dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and there's others. Also develops neuroplasticity and our capacity for higher level functioning, including compassion, resilience, restoration, intuition, insight, creativity, and problem solving. And it gives us the tools for spiritual awakening and transformation, including psychedelic assisted therapy, because as we use particular sounds and music, they work with our neurological system to help process and make sense of and offer a way to integrate and to continue the growth. And it is a method of transformation and our evolution. Check out the 3 Melete programs at 3melete.com.